Lawful good, the noble outlaw.
When I was in the Navy.
I do not wish to hear about what you got up to in the Navy, Mr. Pearson.
Lawful good is that rare mix of plays by the rules and still makes the right call when the rules are garbage. They've got a code, and it's not the one written by politicians or preachers. It's personal. They'll bend the law if it means saving someone, but they won't bend themselves. That's Arthur Morgan when you walk the high honor path. Sure, he robs trains, shoots bandits, and occasionally borrows a horse that doesn't belong to him, but he draws the line somewhere. You won't catch him killing for fun, bullying the helpless, or letting Dutch talk him into burning down an orphanage. Arthur's been Dutch's guy since he was 14, basically adopted by a man who thought honor among thieves was a lifestyle brand. Over the years, Arthur becomes the muscle, the problem solver, the guy who can drag a wagon out of the mud and talk his way out of a gun barrel. But as the gang drifts from Horseshoe Overlook to Clemens Point, to the chaos of St. Denis and even Guarma's worst holiday package, Arthur starts to see the cracks. Then comes the tuberculosis. It's the ultimate gut punch. Not from a bullet, but from life itself. And instead of getting meaner, he gets sharper. Suddenly, it's not about the plan or Dutch's speeches. It's about John making it back to Abigail. It's about stopping Micah's poison before it spreads. It's about walking away from a man he once called family, even if it means dying alone on a ridge watching the last sunrise he'll ever see. Arthur didn't try to outrun the end. He just made sure it didn't catch the wrong people first. Neutral good. The idealist.
What are you lingering about for, cowboy?
Why don't you get off your ass and work a little, goddamn fool?
Neutral good is the kind of person who wants to make the world better, but isn't above picking a few locks or lying through their teeth to get there. They'll bend the rules, maybe even break them, but always with the belief that the end justifies the means, as long as no one undeserving ends up dead in the process. That's Hosea Matthews to the letter. The gang's co-founder, Dutch's oldest friend, and the only man in camp who could steal your wallet, sell it back to you, and have you thank him for the service. Hosea's a con artist, sure, but he's a gentleman con artist. If there's a choice between spilling blood and spinning a story, Hosea's already halfway through the monologue. He and Dutch started their partnership the same way all great friendships begin, by trying to rob each other. From that night by the fire on the road to Chicago, they became inseparable, running elaborate scams on the people they thought had it coming. And for years it worked. But by 1899, Hosea's feeling his age and his patience running out. While Dutch starts leaning toward dynamite and shootouts, Hosea keeps pushing for cleverer plays, like the Braithwaite con or mingling at a St. Denis mayor's party to sniff out their next big score. And yet, even the smartest man in the room can't plan for everything. When the St. Denis bank job goes sideways, Hosea does what he's always done. Distracts the law long enough for the others to act. Only this time, it costs him everything. Gunned down by Agent Milton, right there on the street, his death isn't just the loss of a friend. It's the moment the gang's brain and moral compass are gone, and Dutch starts driving blind. Hosea could talk his way out of anything, except the one trap he never saw coming. Chaotic good. The rebel with a cause.
Never had one of them. Shut up. You might be the first bastard.
Chaotic good types are allergic to authority. They're not trying to burn the whole system down for fun, just the parts that threaten the people they care about. They'll break laws like other people break bread, but it's never chaos for chaos's sake. There's always a reason, and usually that reason has a name. For John Marston in the early game, that name is family. Dutch might have saved him from a lynching when he was just a kid, but Abigail and Jack are the compass he actually steers by. The law? Couldn't care less. Social rules, mostly optional, but threaten his wife or kid, and suddenly the man's ready to ride through hell with a six-shooter. John grew up with Arthur as a kind of outlaw brother, both molded by Dutch into the next generation of the gang. But where Arthur could blend in with Dutch's plans for the greater good or greater chaos, John never fully bought into the speeches. He's got the outlaw swagger, sure, but you can tell he's not in it for the revolution. He's in it for the people at his campfire. That's why the Braithwaite kidnapping of Jack hits like a gut punch. Most of the gang treats it like a business problem. John? It's personal from the first second. When they finally track Jack to Angelo Bronte, John's not impressed by the man's hospitality because no matter how nice the kid's been treated, he was still taken. That's the line you don't cross with John. In the end, chaotic good isn't about burning the rule book. It's about tearing out the pages that hurt your own and using them to start the fire you do need. John never fought for the gang's dream, only for the people he refused to lose. Lawful neutral, the loyal soldier.
Never been more proud of you than I am right now, brother.
Lawful neutral types don't care if the law's good or bad. What matters is that there is a law and everyone follows it. They live by the rules, but they're not necessarily the rules you'd find in a courthouse. In Dutch van der Linde's case, the law is whatever comes out of his own mouth, preferably in the middle of a long speech. Early in Red Dead Redemption 2, Dutch is still the gang's anchor, charismatic, well-read, and brimming with ideas about freedom, loyalty, and building a better world. As long as he's the one drawing the blueprint, he takes in kids like Arthur and John, teaches them, builds their confidence, and then sends them out to rob a train. It's mentorship with a side of grand larceny. When the gang moves from that snowbound mess in Coulter to Horseshoe Overlook, Dutch seems almost at his best. He plays nice with Sheriff Gray and Rhodes, wears the deputy badge like it's part of some long con, and acts like he's keeping the peace. But Dutch's peace is just order under his control. When the Braithwaites cross him by taking Jack, his response is to burn their house down and wipe them out. That's the thing about lawful neutral. The rules are sacred until someone else starts writing them. In Dutch's mind, the plan is law, and the second you question it, you're not just wrong, you're dangerous. Early on, it's easy to believe in his vision, but even there you can see the cracks. Order matters more than justice. Control matters more than truth. And for Dutch, losing control is never an option. Not yet. Dutch didn't follow the law, he was the law, at least in his own camp. True neutral, the survivor.
Because I swear, you try to rob us or steal from us?
True neutral is simple. Not good, not evil, just alive. Decisions aren't made for justice or chaos, they're made for survival. If doing the right thing keeps them breathing, they'll do it. If the wrong thing does, well, no one survives on moral purity alone. Sadie Adler lives by that creed from the moment we meet her. One day she's running a quiet farm with her husband Jake. The next she's hiding in the wreckage of her home, while the O'Driscolls kill him and burn everything down. Arthur and the gang pull her out, but in saving her, they also set her on a path that makes survival and vengeance the same road. At first, she plays along with camp life, cooking, helping where she can, but it doesn't take long before she's done waiting on the sidelines. When O'Driscolls attack, she grabs a gun and fights. When Arthur tells her to get to safety, she ignores him. And when the chance comes to finish the man who killed Jake, she takes it. Clean, quick, and without a shred of hesitation. Sadie isn't loyal to law or an ideal. She's loyal to people. She relocates the gang's remnants while Dutch is stuck in Guarma, risks her neck to break John out of prison, and rides straight into danger for Abigail. But she also walks away when there's nothing left worth staying for. By the epilogue, she's not settling down or chasing some utopian dream. She's a bounty hunter, hunting dangerous men because it keeps her moving, breathing, and in control of her own life. Sadie didn't live by the law or the gun. She lived by whatever kept her standing. Chaotic neutral, the wild card.
Your children will bleed them all out one by one.
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
Chaotic neutral isn't here for the greater good or the greater evil. They're here for the show. If something explodes, bleeds, or throws the world off balance, they're smiling. It's not about winning the war, it's about making sure nobody can predict the next shot. Enter Micah Bell, Dutch's late-game shadow, and the guy who could start a fistfight in an empty room. He drifts into the gang claiming he saved Dutch's life in a bar fight, and from the start, he's all charm to Dutch and pure poison to everyone else. You know he's trouble the moment he kills a man in Strawberry over nothing, gets himself locked up, and then, after you bust him out, immediately turns the whole town into a shooting gallery. Micah doesn't care about the gang, the plan, or even survival in the long run. He thrives when things are falling apart. That's why he worms his way into Dutch's ear after Guarma, pushing for bigger risks, blowing up Bacchus Bridge, picking fights with Cornwall, and telling Dutch to leave Abigail for dead. The more chaos, the more space Micah has to maneuver. And then comes the real twist. While playing Dutch's loyal bulldog, he's been feeding the Pinkertons intel the whole time. It's not a betrayal born of desperation. It's just the most convenient move for Micah in that moment. 8 years later, he's got his own gang, same rules. Loyalty if it benefits him, a bullet if it doesn't. Micah didn't care who won, only that he was the last one holding a gun when the smoke cleared. Lawful evil, the tyrant.
Agent Ross, Pinkerton Detective Agency, seconded to the United States government.
Lawful evil plays by the rules, but only because they've learned how to weaponize them. They'll wrap cruelty in paperwork, turn oppression into policy, and crush you while claiming it's all perfectly legal. That's Edgar Ross, Pinkerton agent, career lawman, and living proof that a badge doesn't make you the good guy. When the Van der Linde gang hits a train in Granite Pass, Ross is right there alongside Agent Milton, taking the job to hunt them down. And unlike Milton, who at least pretends to understand people, Ross is pure efficiency. No charm, no speeches, just the cold patience of a man who knows the system will eventually grind you into dust. In Red Dead Redemption 2, Ross is mostly in the background, but always closing in. He's the one watching from the edges while Milton pushes Dutch and Arthur into tighter corners. And when Milton's gone, you can bet Ross has been paying attention, learning every weakness, every tie that can be pulled apart. Fast forward to 1911, and Ross has dropped the pretense entirely. He's running the Bureau of Investigation, using John Marston's family as leverage to wipe out the remnants of the old gang. The message is clear. Your life, your loved ones, your future, all of it is just collateral if it means checking a name off his list. Ross didn't break the law to kill you. He just made the law sharp enough to do it for him. Chaotic evil, the destroyer.
You always loved the ladies, Dutch Vanderlyn. I like that about you.
Chaotic evil doesn't need a cause. No grand plan, no dream of a better tomorrow. Just power, fear, and the rush of tearing something down. They don't care if they're king or just the last man standing, as long as everyone else is bleeding. Colm O'Driscoll lives in that space permanently. Once, he and Dutch were allies, but after Dutch killed Colm's brother, Colm shot back by murdering Dutch's lover, Annabelle. From there, it was open war. Not the kind with rules, but the kind where the only measure of victory is how much damage you leave behind. Colm's quantity over quality approach turned the O'Driscoll boys into one of the biggest, nastiest gangs in the West. He didn't care if his men were half competent or not. There were always more to throw into the fight. Kidnapping Arthur during a fake truce? Just another day at the office. Selling him out to the Pinkertons? Why not, if it means hurting Dutch? Every move he makes is aimed at breaking his enemy's will before their bodies hit the ground. And yet, for all his swagger, Colm's end isn't in a blaze of glory. He gets caught, tried, and sentenced to hang. Even then, he tries to turn the moment into another bloody escape. But Dutch, Arthur, and Sadie shut him down for good. The rope finishes what bullets couldn't. Colm didn't want to win the war. He just wanted to make sure nobody walked away from it whole.